academically inclined, but he was, I would say, a mobilizer. So, and the trend...
So mobilization replaced ideology?
That was it. And that they should, a northerner should be,
Yeah, but northerner, why not a CPP northerner? Mumoni Baumia was there.
Okay.
Even Zonerigo, who is a military man, was there. He could have
but it's
pushed off the military.
With this
why
kind of
a Dankwa Bujia northerner?
Well, it appeared that from the thinking of Moro and the rest, they felt that, okay, it will do if they have the educated northerners, right? And considering it, they felt that they wanted the support, and the elite, the northern elite, felt that they needed a support from the other opposition-leaning northerners in order.
So effectively a dissolution of the CBP.
And so Imoro Igala pushed for the man who was even supposed to be his uncle or a relative, and so that to just ensure that they will be in power. That is,
they'll be in office, not in power actually. The external forces control the power.
So it appeared they had sacrificed even the little, organizational pro-mass leaning of the CBP for the PNP.
For ethnocentric ends.
Now, with the other question.
Yeah, the other question, which I'm more interested in knowing, because this you have to explain what you're doing.
I told you that 22nd of September.
22nd?
Yes.
Okay.
September, which was Saturday.
Oh.
When we had met.
The day on which you were born.
Well, again. Which was a Saturday. We had met. We met Wachi Jan. And with other people from the rudimentary monarchs, People's Revolutionary League of Ghana, and the rest. Okay. And the agenda had been set. Then the ceremony was performed on Monday, 24th, and handed over. Along the line, we knew that, from our analysis and looking at the future of the nascent Nkrumah elements, the movement would be in danger in no time, because we saw that the man was too right-leaning, it's
anti-Nkrumah.
Yes, anti-Nkrumah. And even he went as far as said interview he conducted, he made it clear that
published in the West Africa magazine.
You will choose Ghana. Between, you will choose Ghana. Ghana just for Ghana's sake or what? So we knew that what we had, we analyzed before the 22nd meeting, and the way forward was going to come around. But at that time, here, note that the June 4th was this, do something before we die, within the military, So, and the man also was, because of the attack on the officer corps, the senior officers during the June 4th, most of them were against the AFRC elements. Okay. So, the man then was relying on advice from the leftover of the military
officer
corps. And the advice was they will just get rid of you, they will arrest you, put you in someone maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and you are dismissed.
Sometimes till cooking, like my friend Joe Atiso.
Some were not lucky. So people started to, here was Jerry, right? So they tried to go around him. Okay. And then, like we say, if you have nothing to do, the devil can make use of you. So at the time, we felt that then we must see what, things that we can.
So he became an ally because he was equally under attack.
So he was present, he was around, and most of the soldiers who have been thrown out
Looked up to him.
that is the thing. So, fortunately, in our organizational approach and the rest, it just served purpose that, okay, within the trade unions, there were these trade conflicts and the rest between some unions. Some unions were divided and whatnot. So we decided that, but note, whilst the unions had their problems, internal problems, most of them were then, the June 4th days, I mean the AFRC days, looked like an umbrella. So we carried there. Some people felt that, okay, just use this good office to unite, especially the National Union of Seamen and the maritime and dock workers. They were having problems. There was this GAU, Ghana Agricultural Union. They also were having problems within. So felt that especially the seamen, So that is how the link developed to. But that day, I was shocked. After all the distance, only to come in when the meeting was arranged, to just use the thing to weld them together for them. The man didn't see anything, even useful, only turn around. And his friend, a friend of his, Chaju Kata, was sitting by him, only to say that, start the meeting like that. Lawyers are rats, including the mentioned the man's name.
His own friend. Including his own friend, who is still his friend today.
You see, so the thing didn't come. Not knowing that they were considering rather that the leader, Richard Bedi, who was then the general secretary of the Maritime Dock Workers. And interesting, that day, Ebo was there. He had come from Western region. Only to turn around.
Boteria,
Yes.
Who later became member of the Provincial National Defense Council.
So we had to wake up, but later we got to know that they were classifying the MDU leader as a CIA agent.
Who was that? Who was the
Richard Bedi.
Richard
He
Bedi.
was there.
Oh, okay.
Of the other faction.
Yeah.
So but it was shocking because, look, the man, even though you heard that he was a CIA, but his members of that union
Have elected him.
and not only because they contain the most radical left trend of the working class movement at that time, So, well, it's like, and after even 31st, they made sure that he was chased out of the country.
Bidding was chased
Yes.
out. Okay. Brother Philomeno, what made it possible for you to return to Angola?
Yes.
The same MPLA, your former colleagues who you annoyed and made them to even arrest your friends and all that. And yes, after all this havoc that you caused, you returned to Angola.
Yeah, because there was some changes in power. Firstly, power is in crisis because the hand of the East countries the fallen of communist
The
system.
influence of the Eastern
Yeah,
Europe
in
weakened.
Yes, this is extremely important, and the power experiment to get some alliances with opposition parties, members of opposition parties, like members of FNLA, like Shipenda. Shipenda was a member of MPLA, was expelled too, but he come back to Angola, and I see that it was my opportunity to under this situation, because it could be a scandal if they arrest me when the others people comes.
Who are in the same category as you have come
Yes,
back.
come back. So against opinions of my colleagues,
Yes.
I decide to to enter
The country.
Yeah, the country, and I make some contacts for for work, for job, and okay.
You managed to get a good
10
job too.
minutes, yeah, 10 minutes, 10 years after,
You got a job.
it was possible to come back to Angola. Yeah, yes, I got a job as economist in Senegal, the powerful company. Yeah,
Yes.
But-
yes.
when I arrived, we underground, we continued
To create havoc.
to fight in three directions: in civic movement, political civic movement, in cultural movement, in a political movement. We continue to work, and in Angola at that time the situation was extremely strange, because people can talk, people can change ideas, and we launched a movement of debates based on very important musical groups. In the past, Angola Rhythm. Gola Rhythms was an important group. All members, practically all members, were arrested in colonial time. Liceu Vieira Dias, it was an important person, and we made an homage of this group for launching the political and cultural debate in Angola. It was a very good experience, and we organized the first civil society organization outside the regime, because all the civil society was inside the regime.
Created by the regime.
Yes, the youth, for example, was organized within the youth of MPLA. The writers organized in union belong to MPLA. The workers organized in trade union within the MPLA. The first organization for civil society independent we created in 1989 after my return in Angola. It was not easy to create this organization. Where the meeting takes place was circle with military military cars, and but it was possible to them. And under the civil movement, we began to speak about political organization. And 2 years later, we organized, we constituted a new party in Angola.
Yes, 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 yes. Good, good, good hearing all this. Kwame. So, during the 31st process, as Rawlings somehow under common, we are under attack, so fighting back together. How did that work to promote the progressive currents, which had the nascent progressive current, which have developed in the post-Nkrumah period? And how has that helped to create a legacy for the nascent progressive movement today?
Working with Rawlings on that, well, you know, the struggle has the signs of taking steps forward and steps back. But
Yeah,
the
politics
final
is a kind of a
objective
mountain.
is to
Uneven.
arrive
Yeah.
at the final objective. Some, most people thought, or maybe mistakenly, were want to be opportunistic or wanted to take advantage of the process, which I call it process, which took place on 31st, you know. So a lot did enter, but the overall gain or loss, I think that the losses has been very devastating, because the nascent left, which by 81 thereabout was, you know, having coalition, trying to, the opportunity was such that unification to maintain the legacy of Nkrumah, you know, would have done. But it turned out that finally, you know, the Lord made great sacrifices, but the losses, the sacrifice has been great. The nascent left has suffered a devastating disarray, you know, a lot.
Or near death. Or actually death.
You know, it's the left, nascent left, the Nkrumah movement, as I call, right, has suffered a devastating blow, and to rebuild is a very, you know, heavy tax which has to be carried on, because it turned out that, well, the enemy has played smart, you know, and the results now.
Is it the enemy playing smart or the forces going out unarmed?
The all said and done is yes or no. Is that not? Whether armed.
No, I don't mean in terms of military arms.
Yes.
I mean in terms of strategic
well,
program,
I'm saying,
strategy of how to
yes,
deal with a new
yes.
situation.
I would say that it was not adequate, you know.
Yes. Yes, to tend to you, Comrade Philomeno, we're coming close to the end now. My brother Rima is getting to be tired.
Yeah.
Tell us about Bloco.
Oh, yes. Bloco is an organization, a political opposition party in Angola. Was founded in 2010. So Bloco comes from another party, was the Front for Democracy. Front for
Yes, I remember when I interviewed you for Kilombo, you were
Yes,
Front for Democracy.
Front
So I don't
for
know when
Democracy.
you
Yeah.
soon became Bloco.
Yeah. But this party, because we have a law, an incredible law of political parties. If a party didn't get one sum of votes, this party can be expelled.
You have an interesting constitution.
Yes.
Oh, otherwise, by now, CPP and all those people would have been expelled.
And the
0.18%.
yeah, the election are not free in Angola, and the election coming by fraud. And if government can expel one party, make the fraud, and this party disappear simply. So it's because after our party was outside of political scene, we create a new party. We join signatures in Angola. It's necessary to join about 8,000 signatures to make one party, to legalize one party, and with the same political base, we create Bloco Democratic. The Bloco is a kind of compromise of several ideologies, several political lines in terms of democracy. We stress freedom, modernity, and citizenry as an important words for formulation a new political thought, because our society don't have liberty, and the concept of citizenry is extremely weak in practice, in practical terms. So under these words, we can fight for human rights, for rights to people, and we can support the civil movement, like the youth movement for new reforms. We can support workers. We can support communities too. Our role in our society is to give some highlights for changing the power that exists now in Angola, and create a great movement against the new dictatorship that exists now in Angola in several situations. We faced great corruption in Angola. The daughter of our president is the first billionaire in Africa. The son of the president controls the sovereign fund in Angola. Is a kleptocracy that functioning. So we have a lot of work to do, and we put in democratic bloc a progressive thinking in terms of economics, in terms of values too, because we said openly that growth doesn't represent nothing if without a good distribution and without opportunities of each people, each family, to get incomes, enough incomes for living. We're fighting for the environment, for a good environment. We're fighting against the robbery of multinationals in Angola, and against the new rich, because the difference between rich and poor are so far in Angola. So this is some basis of working of the local democratic. The last election, we present for legalization for election about 8,000 signatures, but the commission election don't admit our participation. Well, it's very complicated because with some administrative constraint, you can be outside the legal movement. So I think the government fears a lot with the bloc democratic, because we are non-violent current. We are movement anti-corruption. We support the fighting from the youth and the communities, and we found a lot of tactics of government so that they repressed us very aggressively. So in, for example, 2010, some of us were arrested in Angola, some of us were beaten in the demonstration. Even last week, two members of our parties, one was arrested with the youth movement, in another one in province was arrested and beaten during the weekend in one prison, because the police accused him to make contacts with the people, supposed to engage these people in demonstrations. So, as a politician, you can't make contact with people. The situation is extremely grave in Angola for democratic bloc, but we keep on our fight.
Yes, my comrade Kwame Afful. With all these difficulties in Ghana, the demise of the left, the 24 February consensus all over there through all the political parties, difficult to see a way forward. What made you interested in this Kilombo conference and here with us today? And what do you think about the Kilombo conference and the Ghana State Parliament that we have just had?
Well, I've thought deeply about it, and Kilombo stands for justice and social society, advancing participation of the mass of the people in the decision making at their community level, and then it will emerge to the district and to the regional and then spread nationally, then as Pan-Africanists, and